Jake and Ben, want to remind you, don't miss Minky Monday on the KSL Sports Zone. Tune in all day Monday, May 5th, to win Minky Couture blankets. The original classy blanket, Minky Couture, makes the perfect Mother's Day gift, and Zone listeners get 50% off with code ZONE50. Don't miss Minky Monday on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ben, we don't need to dwell on this here in this segment because it's really not worth it. But I did want to bring this up because I do find it funny. Let me start by saying, like, when Nick Saban said never affiliate with a love interest that has less to lose than you do.
Yeah.
It was really some really good advice. How about another legendary coach that should have been listening? Did you watch 60 Minutes yesterday?
I saw the last famous sequence now.
With old Bill?
No, I didn't watch that one, no.
I know what you're talking about. No, I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
They did a story on Bill Belichick, and he's promoting his new book, The Art of Winning, Lessons from a Life in Football. So he's sitting down. Actually, I think they aired it during 60 Minutes, but it was for CBS's News Sunday Morning. Apologies if that wasn't the case. But anyway, they asked Bill how he met his 24-year-old love interest. And she basically shut down the question.
Okay.
Like, she's there for the interview.
Right.
They had a camera that caught the interaction. Hatch, you correct me if I'm mischaracterizing any of this. Well, and she basically said, we're not talking about this.
And she thought that she was off camera, but they had an angle where it shows her literally get up out of her seat and, like, wander over and, like, no.
Yeah.
We ain't doing this.
So it leads me to think, one, and I thought DJ and PK were right when they were talking about this. One, like, how did you meet her, Bill?
Yeah.
What is the story there? Because originally they said they met on a plane. Now she's shutting down the question like, well, how did that happen, old Bill?
Yeah.
You're 73? She's 24? And then second of all, like, Bill, you're doing an interview to promote your book that has nothing to do with this woman. Why is she even there?
Yeah.
And then why is she bullying in on your interviews? Can you even imagine what she's like when 60 Minutes isn't there? Poor guy.
She's his quasi-manager, right? Whether or not she's his actual manager, she's certainly playing that role.
Oh, yeah. She's bullied everybody out, I'm sure.
And we watched her. She's on the practice field, like, telling people what's what during spring ball for North Carolina. It's like, who are you?
A psycho is the answer.
Do we think Bill's losing it?
No, I think Bill's in the, like, Al Pacino phase where he's like, I don't care. I'm dating a 24-year-old. Whatever.
Let her do whatever, yeah.
Like, my life and reputation and all that stuff is all run its course. It's like we were joking off the air with DJ and PK. It's like that guy that married Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah.
What do I care?
The poor guy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bill's at that point where he's trying to line up jobs for his kid and date a 24-year-old. And if she's going to push him around
he doesn't care about
in
anything
front
else.
of 60 Minutes, he doesn't really care.
Sure.
He's probably a little bit of rubbing it in his ex-wife's face, too. I would guess there's a little bit of that there. But, Ben, you're married to
Engaged, but yeah.
Or not married, engaged, whatever. Sorry, I'm confused.
No, you're good.
To a confident, intelligent woman.
I thought you were going to say a younger woman, but okay.
No. I
you
like
were going to come after
No, but I'm saying she's not running your stuff like this.
No.
Like, she's not standing in the corner right now off camera, like, telling you what you can and can't say. I don't, you're Bill Belichick. You must just not care.
She's not that much younger, by the way.
Than you? Is she younger than you? I actually have no idea.
35. I'm 38. So.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
My wife's, how old am I? Like 3 years younger than me?
She's a year older than I am. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good time. But anyway.
Either here nor there.
Bill, I don't even think you've got to date a woman necessarily your age. You knock yourself right out. But this woman obviously is, she's coming for you, pal. She's running your stuff.
It's a weird final chapter for Bill before he stops coaching.
They're not even married yet, and I bet his kids are already out of the will.
Well, I mean, he got one of his kids a job, but maybe that's what he does. He gives you a job and gets you out of the will.
Oh, Bill doesn't know they're out of the will.
There's no money for you left.
She's already gotten power of attorney. She's that type.
What's her name?
Let me see. Dakupul? Dakupul is her last name?
Okay.
I don't know. Let me see.
Yeah. I mean, you look her up, though, and that's all the story is shutting down questions.
Oh, no, the journalist was Docopole.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was the Tony. I don't know. Obviously, I don't watch CBS enough. But anyway, I don't know what her name is.
Jordan Hudson.
Jordan Hudson.
Yeah.
She's diabolic. I'll give her that.
Yeah, good for her.
Really?
Yeah, she's consolidated power.
If I'm North Carolina, I'm not loving it.
No, probably not.
Like, you're supposed to be coaching football, not her. Not her, Ben. All right. There you go. So, anyway, there's your Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old. Yeah. Ben, did you see that the commies are moving back into D.C.?
Oh, good.
The only reason I bring this up is just to look at did you see the price tag of the new building? So they're going to knock down RFK.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to build a new building. $3 billion is what it's going
for
to
the
cost.
stadium.
And it just got me to thinking, because I was driving in today, and we can flip this to, a Jazz, more local conversation, but it just hit me as did you drive by Delta Center? I'm sure you did.
They did, yep.
Fences are all up.
Yep.
Trucks everywhere. I mean, it gave me PTSD from the last time that they renovated, and what an adventure that was for the radio station.
Someone shared a photo over the weekend of the entire inside looks somewhat gutted. It's all covered in dust, and there's trucks all over. So, yeah, they're fully underway.
Now, it's not going to run $3 billion, but I got to imagine that the overall project is going to be steep, Ben. And this is coming on the heels of the last renovation at Delta Center, which honestly wasn't that long ago. And Gail Miller herself basically said she was doing it to keep the arena relevant for another 20 years. And now they're going back in and doing a project that honestly was out of the blue, I guess. Certainly they probably weren't planning on. And it just got me thinking the significant investment that Ryan Smith and the Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club are making in particularly downtown Salt Lake City, but how honestly I'm excited to see how it goes. But this is important stuff that's going on. This is a random, really important offseason, like on and off the floor for the Jazz.
Last week, the Salt Lake City Council voted to approve the $1.8 billion overhaul. Now, there are still more things that could get in the way, but it ended up being $300 million more than expected that they added on that they can collect in this tax to pay for the revitalization of downtown. But yeah, it's not $3 billion just for the building like the Commanders are going
So
for.
How do we start a construction company, Ben, and start putting some of this dough in our pocket?
You know what? I tearing up a sprinkling system at my house right now, and my whole body hurts. I don't want anything to do with construction.
Oh, dude, let's put in a bid.
I applaud those guys, but I don't want to do any physical labor. I don't even want to be at the ceremonial, shovel in the dirt thing. My body hurts too bad. I'm not strong enough to do any of that stuff. So that doesn't interest me.
That didn't go well?
It didn't go well. My body still hurts.
Did you rent
I'm not even a third of the way done.
Trencher?
Nope. Bought a pickaxe and been attacking my yard all day or all weekend. But anyways, I mean, you're right. This is a big off season for the Jazz. This is a big off season for actually SCG and the Smith Entertainment Group.
But refitting the building, we'll see where the Jazz land in the lottery. But no doubt, a young player with a ton of potential and a ton of juice is going to be on the roster next year. I mean, even if they fall to 5, they're going to be trying to get their next franchise guy.
Whoever the guy is, regardless of
That's
where
what
you
they
draft,
do.
you hope this guy is the next future face of your franchise. And if it's not this year, then it's the guy you draft next year.
I'm old enough to remember Dante Exum's draft night.
Yep.
Everybody thought that this is the point guard of the future for the Utah Jazz.
The face
this
of
is
the
going to be
franchise.
the guy, the face of the franchise, all that. And they booted that pick, obviously, but that's what the expectation is for this pick. So you're going into a slightly refitted building next year. You're going to have a new young player with a bunch of juice. I'm guessing that the Jazz make at least one. I mean, how would you classify it? What would you classify a big move? I bet they make at least one big move because they're not. I can't see them 3 years in a row making all their draft picks.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I got to think there's at least a decent chance that Lauri Markkanen is shopped.
Shopped, yeah.
All the other veterans are going to be shopped who are under contract. So, I mean, this is a big offseason. This is a huge offseason on and off the floor for the Utah Jazz. And I hope that they're not just betting on getting the number 1 pick because the odds of that happening are low.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it starts, right? You're 2 weeks out from today is when the lottery will be held. So that will be the first step. And once they figure out where they're drafting, they will start making decisions off of that. I'm sure they have contingency plans laid out. And also the idea of you don't have a plan because plans are somewhat silly in this business. Because you don't know if Giannis is going to ask out. Yeah, if you get the number 1 overall pick, I don't think you would include that in a Giannis trade. If you get the number 5 overall pick, you probably do. That's the difference. If Giannis were to ask out and you have the 5th pick and it's not, Cooper Flagg or number 2 Dylan Harper, you probably do start thinking like, hey, this is the best trade asset that would be out there for him right now because no one's given up Luka and no one's given up Jokic for him. So you give up a player with that type of potential. Houston's going to have a lot of picks that they're going to try and throw out there for Giannis if he were to become available.
Would you trade the number 1 pick for Giannis if you were the Jazz?
No, but I would trade the 3rd pick or 4th pick probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you get the number 1 pick, no, you get Cooper Flagg, you stick with that. But if you fall to 5, you call Milwaukee. You say, hey, how do you like Lowry, a number 5 overall pick, and pick 2 of the other young players not named Walker Kessler?
Well, why would they want Lowry?
You just got to make salaries match, and he helps you skip the line. He's an all-star. I mean, Lowry's a good player. Lowry steps in right away, and you don't have your own picks, so there's no reason for you to be terrible. And you get a top 5 pick this year. You hope that guy, like we're saying right now, becomes your franchise face.
Yeah, but if you flip Giannis, don't you only want young players or picks? I mean, you make a good point about the salaries working because you got to figure that out. So maybe Lowry comes in there, but Milwaukee, including Lowry, wouldn't be a selling point for the Bucks.
No, but you take Lowry and then you trade him. Yeah. You redirect him. You want, and you're not going to get value by taking on John Collins and Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton to match the salaries there. So you take on Lowry and then you can flip Lowry for 2 more picks or whatever down the line. You just get whatever best package you can get for him, whether that's picks or veterans or whatever. Because Milwaukee doesn't have the ability to drop to the bottom, I just think you take as much value as you can back. So, that's what could be at play coming up in 2 weeks in the lottery for the Jazz. And yeah, you hope you get Cooper Flagg because then you control him for 7 years and he has potential to be a top 10 player in the league. And then you don't throw him out there for Giannis. But yeah, this offseason has the potential for those types of moves for the Jazz this year. It'll be pretty fascinating to watch and see how they approach it.
Oh, they'll be involved in conversations for sure. But the problem is that if Giannis is asking out, then Giannis is going to decide where Giannis goes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's moving. Do you think Phoenix moves Booker?
No.
Because you can make the same argument that Phoenix should move Booker too.
Oh, and they should. I think they probably should. I don't think they will.
Why would Milwaukee be more likely than Phoenix to move their star?
It's a good question. They may not be. Other than the ownership group in Milwaukee is maybe a little more grounded than Matt Ishbia. Matt Ishbia seems to think that they can win a title with this team. In fact, he said championships with an S. He said he said that this summer. He said they're going to win multiple championships still, even after this disaster that they've gone through over the last 2 years since he bought the team.
Wait a minute. The ownership group that hired Doc Rivers to be a consultant and then fired their head coach only to move that consultant into the head coaching role is more grounded than
yes,
another ownership group?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm buying that one.
Then the one that hired Isaiah Thomas to come in and be their GM?
I agree with you, but we're comparing.
Yeah, we're not comparing the best of the best. I promise you.
That's why I'm not saying that as a compliment to Phoenix. I'm saying that as an insult to Milwaukee, who accidentally got Giannis in the first place.
No, I think they absolutely should trade him. I think they should trade Devin Booker. And if they don't this year, they're going to be talking about it next summer. I mean, they're going to be trapped in this loop, the same loop that I think Milwaukee is trapped in right now, that until you trade that guy, there's no out because you have mortgaged your entire future. You can't do that. I think we're going to see fewer and fewer teams. And, history repeats itself, so maybe I'm totally wrong here, but you shouldn't mortgage all of your draft picks to continue to try and stay relevant after you win a title. I don't think the league actually rewards that anymore. We haven't seen teams come back and get an advantage out of that and see it be a successful strategy. If you were still winning a title 3 years from now with Giannis or, if Denver was able to do it, maybe, but
the problem is that every NBA expert, and for good reason, will tell you can't win a title without a top 5 player on your team.
Right.
So if you have the top 5 player, that's the hardest part.
It is.
Why would you move off the top 5 player? And by the way, I don't think Donovan Mitchell was ever a top 5 player, and I bet it was still difficult for the Jazz to move off.
Of course.
Like that's why Nico in Dallas is getting so blasted, is you had a top 5 player.
Right. And he wasn't asking out the way Donovan, I've been told, asked out.
Or at the very least indicated he wasn't going to sign an extension.
Right.
Which is basically the same
And
thing.
he was still a couple years down the line from that, but yeah, essentially said he didn't want to be here.
So
I'm with you, but these teams have put themselves in bad situations. You can't put yourself in a spot where you have no outs. And Milwaukee has one out. Otherwise, they're going to remain mediocre forever. And same with Phoenix. They have one out. It's trading Devin Booker. Maybe you can get enough for Kevin Durant to kind of get back. Maybe. If you could do that, if you could trade Kevin Durant to the Rockets and get all your picks back, the Rockets own all the Suns' future picks, I would understand that.
But then what do you do with those picks? Not be competitive next year.
Right, yeah, you tank next year.
So Devin Booker goes back to being the worst team in the league again?
Uh-huh. That's your out. I mean, that's your pathway forward, unfortunately for them. They played their hand wrong. So has Milwaukee. They've played their hand wrong with all of these trades. Damian Lillard was the first big swing, and it totally whiffed. And Chris Middleton aged out of being a competitive player, and they got whatever they could for him in Kyle Kuzma, and the Wizards were happy to give up on Kuz.
So not who should, but who will be the biggest name traded in the offseason?
Kevin Durant. I think so. I'm with you. I think Milwaukee should trade Giannis. There's probably a good chance they don't.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
It seems like a lot of teams trade that player a year too late than a year too early, or right on time.
Well, see Damian Lillard.
Because you say, well, Dame's gone. You're going to have all this turnover already because, like we mentioned, Brook Lopez is probably gone with his injury, or not with his injury, but him hitting free agency and being as old as he is, he could retire for all we know. And they just say, well, we're going to be down for a year. We'll see what just having Giannis and maybe retooling a little bit around him with some different faces. But they've missed on all their draft picks, unfortunately. They've traded all their other draft picks for other teams. I just don't think there's a lot of value. And then maybe you find yourself recognizing, hey, you missed the playoffs in the East, which you should never do, but you're the 7th seed. You're where Miami is right now. And you say, well, man, we're watching New Orleans make the 10th pick with our selection. This is the time we got to start getting that stuff back. That's when you could feel Milwaukee or see Milwaukee starting to feel forced.
All right, we can talk some playoffs coming up next. I actually have some advice for the Salt Lake Bees.
Okay.
So we can get to that coming up
great.
as well. Just some advice, which I think that they'll agree with.
Okay.
All right, stay tuned. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Time to welcome David Locke back to the airwaves.
Isn't Finals MVP more important than regular season MVP more than ever?
I think the order would be MVP, champion, Finals MVP. Karl Malone won 2 MVPs, right?
Would he trade one for a title?
Yeah.
I don't think he would.
Whoa!
By the way, he can't trade one. He's got to trade them both.
I think he's taking the title every single time.
You can have the highest rated morning show in the country and twice be named the best morning show host in the country, or your station can be named the best station in the country. Which are you taking?
That's not a thing, and you know it. You just totally made that up.
Take that in your pipe and smoke it on your rocking chair while you cherish your greatest morning show host ever title.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Do you believe in karma? Log on to KSLSports.com to help raise money for a great cause and create some good vibes for the Jazz in the NBA Draft Lottery. It's the KSL Sports 2-for-1. Donate at least $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital in hopes of the Jazz recouping winning basketball in Utah. Go to KSLSports.com to donate your $2 today. Ben, here's just my advice to the Bees, and then we can, hit on the games tonight and what's going on in the NBA playoffs. But this happened for the Washington Nationals, Ben. They scheduled their firework night on the same night as, quote, Pups in the Park. Now I did, we were doing some liners for the Bees and getting people excited about the new stadium. And I know they are doing, I think they're calling it Bark in the Park.
Yeah.
So I know they are doing several dog nights.
Yeah.
And obviously they're going to do fireworks nights, which are extremely popular around here. No need to overlap.
Yeah. There's a lot of nights.
No need to overlap.
It's 80 games.
Let's give the Pups their own night, and we'll give fireworks their own night. Because I imagine as soon as they say fireworks are coming, everyone with the Pups is bouncing, right?
Right.
So then nobody is around to watch the fireworks.
Or if you stick around, you've got a bunch of unruly dogs.
Howling dogs.
Who are terrified of the...
creating havoc. It's just a bad idea. I don't even know how that happens. Like, how does a marketing department even? Does nobody notice? Nobody goes, you know what?
We double
I
booked
don't
this.
think the dogs like fireworks.
We double booked this night. How do we undo that?
Let's move Pups in the Park to Thursday, huh?
Yeah, and that's the easy one, right? We know we're going to do fireworks all throughout July.
That's one of those that never should have gotten off the ground in the first place. It never ceases to amaze me how many bad ideas that never should have made it out of the brainstorming room.
Don't get checked.
Like I remember when Bronco wanted to change the back of the jerseys for BYU to Spirit, Honor, and Tradition.
Yep.
Remember, just a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, how did that make it off the ground?
But someone's got to tell them no, and nobody did.
So whoever the genius marketer here is, what, they just don't not want to tell them no?
Dogs can bring their own fireworks.
Like, that's one of those where is the boss such a maniac that nobody was like, hey, that's probably a bad idea, and everybody just went forward with it?
Yeah.
Whatever. I got to imagine everybody over there at the Bees didn't need this advice not to do those two things.
This was
on
the
same
minor league affiliate, or no, this was the majors?
No, this is the majors.
Yeah. I would get
This
it if
is
it was
in
a
our
minor
nation-
league affiliate, and they just kind of said, we whiffed.
What,
Apologies.
like when the Ormals wanted to do white bread night? You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Or what did the Raptors wanted to do? They wanted to do hourglass night or whatever, and the idea was to bring shapely women to the ballpark. Like, how does that
Anything to sell
how does that
tickets.
make it off the ground?
Yeah, right. Hourglass night. Nuggets, Clippers, tied at 2-2.
You'd go to hourglass night, Ben. You'd get off you'd get off your
engagement ring
duff
fell off.
and head up to what's that ballpark called? I love that ballpark.
Isn't it in Eccles?
Is it
In Ogden?
Yeah, the baseball park.
Yeah, I think
I thought it was something else. Anyway, doesn't matter. Ben, NBA playoffs. The Cavs going to sweep the Heat?
Yes, absolutely. Not a great series. Not one anyone's really interested in, and
Do you
not
still
until,
think the Cavs are going to make it to the conference finals? No problem.
I mean, the Pacers are good. The Pacers are a really dangerous team. Like, I think the Pacers are going to win 2 games in that series. Like, that's how good the Pacers are. They really are good everywhere, and they have real depth. And the more I look at the NBA now, and look, so do the Cavaliers, but teams with depth are winning. Teams without depth are really struggling.
Well, it depends on the depth. I think you've got to have, to win in the playoffs, I think you've got to have 7.5 guys.
Yeah, that's right. And that's really always been the case.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You got to have 7 players that can all play 30 minutes, and then a guy that can
Step in.
be productive for 20.
And you're going to get an injury. You're going to suffer an injury. Do you have a guy who can step up and play there? You know, luckily for the Golden State Warriors, they figured that out. You know, Jimmy Butler got hurt, and even though Kuminga's not a great player and Steve Kerr doesn't want to play him, they've got Quentin Post. They've just got enough guys that can step up, and Gary Payton can step in the second, third, whatever, can step in and play a little bit. Indiana has that. Indiana has guys that come off the bench that can play, and that's going to give them a real a boost. Milwaukee doesn't. That's why they're going to win this series pretty easily. But they're going to give Cavaliers a real push. Not win the series. I don't think they're good enough. But
It's funny that everybody kind of thought that their run to the conference finals last year was a fluke. Kind of like Atlanta's was, what was that, 2021?
Yeah.
Where everybody's like, oh, conference finals for the Hawks, and then nobody believed in the Hawks going forward, and then they were crappy from that day forward.
Indiana had fluky things happen to their opponents along the way. Everyone got hurt. Knicks got hurt. And then they got beat up by Boston. But no, they're a legitimately good team. And then looks like the Knicks are going to advance, and they'll play the Celtics in the second round. And honestly, I think the Celtics are going to have an easier time with the Knicks than the Cavaliers will with the Pacers.
Oh, I 1,000% agree with that. I think the Pacers are better than the Knicks.
They might be, yeah.
So, and I definitely think Boston is better than Cleveland. So, you would take the Knicks over the Pacers?
No, I don't know. I might take the Pacers right now over the Knicks. Pacers are really clicking. And Tyrese Halliburton's as good as, Jalen Brunson. Probably better. He's bigger.
Oh, I think he's way better than Jalen Brunson, but not according to the rest of the league. I still can't get over that player survey that Halliburton was the most overrated player. Really?
I disagree.
That guy who plays at 1,000,000 miles an hour? And
Right. He doesn't play any defense either. I mean, he's got some
No.
Jalen Brunson to him, but at least he's 6'8", 6'7".
And really good.
Yeah, he's really good. I'm really curious what happens in the West. One of the things we did talk about with the Lakers, which seemed to leave the narrative after the Luka trade, it was the initial thought was, this team's pretty flawed. You got Luka, you got LeBron. They'll figure out how to play together, and they will. But outside of that, There's not enough there. Certainly nothing in the front court that excites you. And Rui Hachimura is okay, and Jared Vanderbilt's okay. But they don't have a big guy, and they don't.
No.
And Julius Randle's cooking them right now. As good as Ant has been, Julius Randle's also having his way, which has never happened in the playoffs. But usually you have a big guy to put on him, and it really slows him down, and he can't be as effective as he has been. It gets interesting for the Lakers because while they have Austin Reeves, they still have their draft pick, the stuff that they tried to trade from Mark Williams to the trade deadline and ended up rescinding it. They can use that this summer, but now you're talking about a 41-year-old LeBron? Like, you're going to thin out. You're going to get expensive. You're going to sign Luka to an extension this summer. It's like, there's a chance they just don't have the assets to really fill out their roster that well to build this thing into the type of title contender I think people assumed when they traded for Luka.
By the way, a little side note. How bad must Dalton Connect be?
That they can't get on the floor at all?
Well, they tried to trade him.
Yeah.
And then now in the playoffs where they need bodies.
Anything, right.
Nah. No thanks, Dalton.
Especially because you drafted him to be NBA ready. You drafted him to step in.
Point.
He was SEC Player of the Year. He played 4 years in college. Yeah, he was going to step in and be ready to go day one.
He could be dynamic. He could do all those things, and now he can't even play.
Yep, can't get him on the floor.
He and Joe Ingles are playing the same amount of minutes in this playoff series.
Yeah. At least Joe's walking around on the floor.
I mean, no offense to Joe, but
yeah.
I mean,
Joe's washed.
Yeah, Joe's in the
completely washed.
In the twilight. He's in the vacation portion of his career. Does Joe have another year?
I think it might be a team option if there is one, but I don't think Joe's going to play anymore.
No,
I think this is the end for Joe.
Not if he's under contract. Hold on, he's going to play out the string. I would.
I think he's a free agent.
I'm sure he is. Hold on, let me look it up.
By the way, it's Lindquist Field.
Lindquist Field. Yeah, I knew it wasn't.
Yeah, but I think it's the Eccles baseball facility.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ingles is a free agent. Back to Australia.
Yeah, but no depth there for the Lakers. And J.J. Redick showed it and wouldn't play his guys, and as a result, they lost the game, and they're down 3-1. They're probably going to lose the series, and then they face very real questions going forward.
Do they fire the sommelier?
No.
Do they move off LeBron?
No. Though that would be interesting. Again, teams that could get assets for players and have a chance to win by what they would get back for LeBron. LeBron's still good. You would get something back for him.
They should move off LeBron. You want to talk about teams that should do? They should move off LeBron.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Trade the 41-year-old guy who's just going to be a headache because there's no way he enjoys watching Luka play basketball.
They've got a really fascinating summer. Again, they're going to win because they have a good summer because they're going to sign Luka to an extension. And you've got a top 5 player coming back. That feels like a victory for them. And it is. And it's enough to sit back and, get your feet up and say, we're doing well, our future is set.
His name is not LeBron, so LeBron is going to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Move that guy.
It's not going to be. I'll be curious what big guy they go after. Again, they desperately need one. They wanted Mark Williams.
He would have made him better.
He would have made them better.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I get that maybe they feel like they can redirect that and go somewhere else and try and get another better player. Another, better player.
Uh-huh.
Not another better player. But they've got to think that there's something more that they can do that would be better than what they got from Mark Williams or what Mark Williams would have offered them.
Yeah, they'll try and do something. But LeBron's going to be 42.
Yeah, right. That's the problem. This window with LeBron was always tight. It was always short.
No, it's not. He's been there for like 8 years.
No, with LeBron and Luka was going to be short. Those two together at, their ability to win together was not going to be very long because LeBron is going to age out at some point. His body will give out or he's just going to be done playing, which is totally understandable as well. I just don't know how quickly he'll get there, but it's sooner rather than it is later. So you certainly can't really make decisions with LeBron in mind. You may not have to address certain things because they're not weaknesses while LeBron's on your roster. He's still a good playmaker, still a decent defensive player. He showed that yesterday. But you've got to start building a team that will make sense post-LeBron with Luka in mind.
Well, that's not LeBron's opinion.
Correct. It's not.
So we'll see. I mean, they should. I don't know where you would want to trade LeBron to Milwaukee.
Sure.
Be Giannis and LeBron next year.
Or no, get Giannis back. Get Giannis.
Oh, there's no way Milwaukee would do that.
No, of course not. No. If they're trading Giannis, they're getting 4 draft picks, 5 draft picks, an all-star, and a young player.
No, they should trade Kuz for LeBron.
sending Kuz back to
And
LA.
the
where it
Lakers
all
should
started.
do it. Kuz could stand there in the corner and watch Luka play. That's probably a good role for Kuz, actually.
LeBron's still a top 15 player in the NBA, easily.
Eh.
But Kuz is bottom 100. He's really had a rough playoff series.
Yeah, he hasn't been good. I don't know if I call him bottom 100, though.
3 points.
I got it. He's still a starter,
3
though.
points, 1 assist, 0 rebound in their last game. 16 minutes.
Making a lot of money. $20 million bucks.
Yes, he is.
Kuz for LeBron. There's my solution for both teams.
Straight up.
Yeah, make it happen. All right, we'll wrap up a Monday edition of the Jake and Ben Show coming up next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, bro. You hear us every day with our crazy opinions.
Hey, what you doing?
Well, now it's time to hear from you.
Hey, great show.
Download the KSL Sports app and fire off your thoughts with the call-in tab on the bottom of your screen.
This show is fantastic. It's the one that captivates me the most.
You can tell PK to stop singing.
G-Bang!
Let Jake and Ben know what you really think of the Jazz. Tell Hans and Scotty about your favorite barbecue spot or what color of tie JJ should be wearing on TV. The best entries will be played on the air. Download the KSL Sports app now and hit the call-in button to let your voice be heard.
I think you guys do an incredible job.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Have you ever been in an argument? It could be with a loved one. It could be with somebody else, but that you just had to get out of there. Like, I got to
Sure,
leave.
of course, yeah.
I'm so mad. I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Would you ever were you ever so mad you would run through a window?
No.
You've got to watch this video. This is in China
Okay.
and at a hotel. Now, this is on the first floor, mind you, but there's a couple arguing. The guy is so upset. Watch this.
He bounces off the window the first try.
Right out the window. I mean, crashes right through the window, but here's the best part. You get the outside view,
okay.
crashes through the window, then just runs. Then just, I'm out.
The view from the inside, you don't know how high the window is.
No.
So, thankfully, it's first floor.
First floor.
Yeah, he drops 2 feet out of a window once he jumps through it.
But he jumps through the window.
Oh, that guy's all cut up. Those windows are...
For sure.
Yeah, like I got sliced up.
I don't think I've ever been that upset.
Why didn't you just use the door? There's got to be... He's like in an apartment complex.
But that doesn't send the message that jumping out the window does.
No, it does not.
Hatch, you ever been in an argument, been so passionate you were just going to jump out the window?
No, but you guys know I lived in Asia for a couple of years over in Taiwan.
Yep.
Doing the mission thing. And I watched that video and I'm like, you know what? I can totally see this scenario playing out. I did at one point see a person throw, I don't remember what the object was, through a window. They were upset about something and they just straight up hurled the thing through a window. And it like the outline of the said object was in said window.
It's a cheap window.
I know. It was in, so I can see why he would do it, but to Ben's point, yeah, or was it you, Jake? Go find the
There's
door.
There's a door around. It's not that far.
We were in Las Vegas once. And we were staying at the IP, the Imperial Palace, which is now gone. That's something else now. I don't think it's gone, actually. I think it's the same building. I think they just renoed it. But, of course, we were college students and staying in, like, the cheapest room. It was on the first floor, and it looked out, like, directly into the parking garage, right?
Right.
So me and one friend are going out to the parking garage. I don't even remember where we're going. But we see our other friend who's inside the room, like inside the window, right? And sitting in a chair up against the window. So my buddy's like, oh, I'm going to scare our friend. So goes up to the window, Ben, puts his hand right through the window. I mean, like was just going to bang on the glass, puts his hand right through the window. The funniest part of this story is that I've never heard a louder, more feminine scream than my buddy who was sitting there who just had a window shatter like all over him.
Yeah. Not the guy who put his fist
I mean,
through it.
one of those dudes that you wouldn't think would scream like that. I mean, like our guy Ralph on the like our dude Ralph, the stats guy for Rubel.
Ralph Sokolowski.
Yeah, our guy Ralph. But can you imagine sitting there just having a conversation and all of a sudden
a window
explodes and you've got glass showering down on you? But I was like, wow, that was a really Oh, some scream you had
And
there.
an aggressive punch.
Yeah,
get
very
through the window?
overly aggressive. The person who put his hand through the window had to definitely go to the emergency room.
This guy jumped his whole body through it. So, neck.
And
back,
ran off.
And ran off. Probably ran to the hospital.
Yeah, probably. Well, I hope he did.
As needed.
Actually, then she'd know where to find him, though.
It's true.
I hope he found some, like...
Probably know where to find him by the trail of blood.
I hope he found a black market physician.
Go to the vet.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
I can't go to the hospital, so I'm going to go find a vet.
This should be the last snap of the football game. Snap to John. John backpedals, plenty of time, plenty of time. He's moving to his left, shuffling. All kinds of time. Now the heat comes. He's got to run to the right. John Beck is on the run. He throws behind him. It is caught for the touchdown.
Right there. Glass breaks.
Caught for the touchdown. Johnny Harleen got it for the score. Harleen by himself in the end zone. The Cougars win it on the final play of the game.
Actually, I take it back. The funniest part of that story was hearing my other buddy lie to security about it. Because security's like, did you guys break the window? And he's like, I was just sitting there and it spontaneously combusted.
Pressure in the room changed. Must have been something with your guys' AC. I don't know what happened.
Meanwhile, this is Vegas, where they probably have cameras in the room.
Sir, why is your hand
They're like, we're looking at the footage right here, and we can see that just
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, you know what? Don't lie to Vegas security.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
I'm guessing that they will figure it out. I've seen that show with what's her name? Molly Sims.
Vegas?
Yeah.
The show called Vegas?
It's called Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Those guys can get to the bottom of anything.
Yeah.
The guy from the Transporter movies that was Fergie's lover? Nothing?
You have Josh Duhamel?
Yeah, that one.
I think it's Dumel.
Dumel? Okay,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Kahn.
Yeah.
I thought Jimmy Kahn was in
Jimmy
that.
Kahn. Gone too soon.
Didn't that movie,
what a sad
didn't the
ending.
show last like one season?
Oh, no. It was like 4 or 5. Tom Selleck actually took over for Jimmy Kahn by the latter couple of seasons. It was killed by the writer's strike.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Remember that, Ben?
I just remember tuning in waiting for it to end so TNT basketball would turn on.
Oh, was it right before TNT?
Whatever. It was always, that's the only time I ever saw it, right before the playoffs.
Ben tunes in for NBA tip-off and says, get off my screen, Las Vegas.
Selleck.
Oh, I legit liked Las Vegas.
Okay. You were the only one?
What's his name, or what's her name? Brian Austin Green's ex-wife is on there. And then that gal who got famous doing the sitcom with the Bobcat Goldthwait bunny. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Really? You don't remember the sitcom? That was like a ripoff of Married with Children, except for there was a weird bunny in the basement that talked to the dad?
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that at all? Hatch.
No. Jake, I got nothing for you here.
And the gal was the version of Christina Applegate, but more buxom. Let's see. Hold on.
Unhappily Ever After.
That's it. You don't remember that show?
Not at all.
Well, anyway, she was on Las Vegas.
Okay.
Tiffany Cox, I think is her name. Who was randomly married to Jay Moore, of all people.
Oh, yeah.
Who's now married to, what's her name?
A lot of what's her names in this segment.
No, you know.
You know who. You sound like my mother.
You know who.
Talking about her old friends.
You know who Jay Moore is currently married to.
Jay Moore is married to Jeannie Buss.
That's it.
Yeah. He's fallen upwards.
Yeah, going from Tiffany Cox to Jeannie Buss.
To a billionaire? Yeah.
Is Jeannie technically a billionaire? Probably not liquid.
She owns the Lakers.
Well, that's worth $1 billion, but
Yeah, that makes you a billionaire.
She's not walking around with $1 billion in her pocket.
Who is?
I don't know. Lloyd?
Maybe.
I can't remember. I can't believe you didn't remember Unhappily Ever After.
Nobody did.
And how did Brian Austin Green go from Vanessa Marcil to what's her name?
No more what's her names.
Like that guy hasn't
10 what's her names in this segment.
That guy hasn't been in a successful TV show since 90210, and then he married Machine Gun Kelly's ex.
Megan Fox?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, for 11 years.
They have children together.
Yeah, good for him.
How do you not keep up with all this stuff?
It doesn't interest me.
Really?
Yeah.
The name of this segment is What's Her Face?
What's her face? Yeah. Well, Las Vegas was a good show.
That's where we started.
All right, stay tuned. Hans and Scotty G are coming up
Thanks,
next. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.